Okay, so you know how we're always saying everyday things can be surprisingly complex?
Hmm.
Well, get ready because today we're going to like totally unravel one of those things.
Okay.
We are diving deep into the world of textile process control.
Right.
And I'm already getting the feeling this is way more high-tech than anyone would expect.
Oh, absolutely. Most people don't realize how much goes on behind the scenes.
Right, like I was looking through this stuff from RoleCatcher,
Yeah.
their career guide for textile process controllers.
Yep.
And they mentioned things like CAM and CIM.
Right.
I always thought that was like for building rockets or something, not textiles.
Yeah, it sounds a lot more high tech than it used to be. But think about it.
Okay.
You need to cut like hundreds of layers of fabric at once, all identical.
Whoa, yeah?
That's computer-aided manufacturing CAM in action. Amazing precision.
Okay, so that's the computer-aided part. But what about CIM?
So then you've got CIM, computer integrated manufacturing.
Okay,
It's like
yeah.
the maestro,
Okay.
connecting design, cutting, sewing every part of the process. Oh, wow.
Make sure everything runs smoothly and meets the exact specifications.
Okay, so we're talking serious automation.
Oh, yeah, big time.
But the guide also talks about analyzing raw materials at a microscopic level.
Oh, yeah.
That's where it gets really interesting.
Right, like a textile detective.
Totally.
Imagine you want a fabric that's both water-resistant and breathable, like for sportswear.
Yeah, it's tricky.
A textile process controller would analyze the fibers, figure out their properties.
At a microscopic level.
Exactly. Then they'd use that knowledge to actually produce the fabric.
That's wild. So it's like science meets creativity.
Absolutely. And it's not all labs and microscopes.
Oh, so they're out on the factory floor too.
Often. Working with production teams, fixing problems, keeping those standards high.
Okay, so this isn't your grandma's sewing circle anymore.
Not anymore, though traditional techniques still play a part.
Right.
But this field is all about innovation, finding new possibilities with fabrics.
I like it. So what's it actually like working in this field?
It can be pretty demanding.
Yeah.
You might be in a high-tech plant one day, surrounded by machines,
Uh-huh.
and then on a bustling production floor the next.
So it's fast-paced.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it can get loud with all the machinery.
Yeah, I bet. And the RoleCatcher guide mentioned mills and factories.
Right.
Those don't exactly scream clean and quiet work environment.
True, there can be dust, noise, and sometimes chemicals.
Okay, so safety must be a big deal then.
Absolutely. Safety training is paramount.
Makes sense. It sounds like you need to be adaptable to thrive in that setting.
Definitely. It's a dynamic field.
For someone just starting out, what's a typical career path?
So you'd probably start as an entry-level operator.
Okay.
Hands-on experience with machinery, learning about quality control,
Mm-hmm.
really getting to know the production process inside and out.
Makes sense. So you'd work your way up from there.
Exactly. Next step would be junior textile process controller.
And what does that involve? More responsibility.
You bet. You'd be using those CAM and CIM tools we talked about.
Oh, wow. So you'd be programming those systems. Potentially.
Yeah.
And overseeing small teams, getting involved in the design phase.
So it's like a mix of technical skills and leadership.
Absolutely. You got it.
And from there, you could really start to, like, specialize, right?
Yeah, totally.
Become an expert in a specific kind of textile,
Huh?
or maybe master a particular production process.
Right. That's where you can become a textile process specialist.
Okay, what does that look like day to day?
Leading teams, optimizing those production lines, mentoring junior colleagues.
Oh, cool. So you're like passing on your expertise.
Exactly. It's a path that lets you really dive deep into your niche.
But with all this automation talk, is this a job robots could eventually take over?
It's a fair question.
Like that whole sci-fi factory run by machines.
Right. But here's the thing. Automation is changing the game in textiles.
Yeah, for sure.
But it also creates a need for skilled professionals.
To what? Like wrangle the robots?
Kind of. You need people who bridge that gap between the high-tech systems and the art of making textiles.
Oh, I see. So it's not just about programming the machines, it's about understanding the materials.
Exactly. Someone needs to program the machines, troubleshoot issues, and make sure the final product is top-notch.
Right, because a robot might sew a straight seam,
Right.
but it takes a human to make sure it's the right seam with the right materials and all that.
100%. And don't forget creativity. A machine can follow instructions,
Okay.
but a human. We come up with the innovative solutions, we adapt.
Right, robots can't think on their feet like that.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm convinced this field has serious staying power.
It does.
But let's be real, every job has its
It's
downsides.
true.
What did RoleCatcher say about the not-so-glamorous parts of being a textile process controller?
They were pretty honest about it. It can be demanding.
Okay, in what ways?
Long hours, especially with deadlines or production emergencies.
Yeah, those always happen at the worst time.
Right. And we talked about the noise, dust, and potential chemicals.
Yeah, that's true. You can't forget about safety gear.
Exactly. Safety training is crucial in this field.
It's not all high-tech labs and fancy design studios, right?
Nope. It's a mix. So you need to be prepared for various environments.
So for those who are up for the challenge, what about the salary?
RoleCatcher mentioned good salary as a perk.
Okay, but what does that actually mean?
It varies, like any job, depending on your experience, location, the specific company.
Right, it's not Silicon Valley wages everywhere.
Exactly.
Speaking of standing out, the guide mentioned certifications.
Yes.
Are there any that are like, hire me in the textile world?
Oh, absolutely. A Six Sigma green belt, for instance.
Okay, what's that all about?
It shows you're expert in process improvement.
Oh, so you're the one making things more efficient.
Exactly. And in textile manufacturing, efficiency is key.
Right, time is money and all that.
Minimizing errors, keeping things running smoothly. Very valuable.
So it's not just about working the machines, it's understanding the whole system.
Exactly. A quality management certification is another great one.
What does that tell employers?
That you're not just focused on getting things done, but on getting them done right.
Okay, so high standards.
High standards, attention to detail, those are crucial in this field.
I bet. Are there certifications specifically for the tech side?
Definitely. A CAD/CAM certification is a big one.
That shows you can handle the design software.
Exactly. You're fluent in the language of those high-tech design and manufacturing systems.
Very cool. So those certifications are like having a VIP pass.
Pretty much. They make you stand out in a competitive job market.
Yeah, it's like anything else in tech. Got to stay ahead of the curve.
Right. RoleCatcher actually really emphasized that
Oh, yeah.
continuous learning is key in this field.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What did they recommend?
Joining professional organizations, for one.
Oh, yeah, good for networking.
Exactly. And sharing knowledge, hearing about new breakthroughs, challenges, technologies.
Like having your finger on the pulse of the industry.
Exactly. Plus, staying current with those industry publications.
Magazines, journals, that sort of thing.
All of that. And those newsletters can have some really good deep dives.
Oh, yeah, you can get lost in those rabbit holes.
Totally. Conferences and webinars are good too.
Good point. You can learn a lot at those.
Definitely. And the networking opportunities are invaluable.
For sure. Speaking of trends,
Yeah.
with all this talk about sustainable and ethical fashion,
Right. Right.
I'm curious how that's impacting textile production.
It's huge. Consumers really care about the environment now
Oh, yeah, for sure.
and about how the clothes are made.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So where do textile process controllers fit into all of that?
They're crucial for making those sustainable practices a reality.
So it's not just about faster and cheaper anymore.
Not anymore. It's also about eco-friendly, ethical production.
I like it. Give me some examples.
Okay, well, we're seeing a big rise in organic cotton,
Yeah, that makes sense.
recycled fibers too, and even plant-based materials.
Plant-based, like what?
Things like pineapple leather.
Whoa, no way. What is that? Is that like...
Yeah, it's made from, well, pineapple fiber.
That's wild. So how do they even turn that into?
It's a whole process, and that's where textile process controllers come in.
Okay.
Figuring out how to work with these new materials, optimizing production.
Making sure those eco-friendly materials still meet the quality standards.
Exactly. It's a whole new world of textile production.
So it's like a total shift in mindset.
It is. It's not just about churning out tons of clothes anymore.
Right. It's thinking about the entire life cycle of a garment.
Exactly. From raw materials to biodegradability.
That's amazing. So textile process controllers are shaping the future of fashion.
They're on the front lines for sure.
Wow, this deep dive has been incredible.
Glad you think so.
I had no idea textile production was so complex and high-tech.
It's a hidden gem. You've got technology, creativity, problem solving.
Even a bit of artistry, right?
Absolutely. It's a field with a lot to offer.
Well said.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts for our listeners?
Imagine the future of fabrics, nanotechnology, bioengineered materials, 3D printed clothing.
Okay, now that's getting futuristic.
It's closer than you think. And as a textile process controller,
Yeah.
you could be part of that exciting evolution.
Wow. Now that's something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of textile process control.
Thanks for having me.